leadership and the importance of not avoiding it. Welcome back to Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. This is your man Jay, and today we are going to continue our discussion on image, more specifically, avoiding leadership. As we continue this discussion on the detrimental things that are plaguing the black male image in Western society, we want to touch on the avoidance of leadership. Within our community, we see black men avoiding leadership in many different ways. We 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 can identify this in a professional sense, and a personal sense, and a community sense, and we have this thing where the world starts to look at us as incapable of leading. In many cases, we are incapable of leading. We have to do some self reflection and get ourselves in order before we can lead anybody else. However, there are many of us who are actually capable of leadership, but we avoid it. Well, one and first and foremost, the first type of avoidance of leadership comes within our home. I got to tell you, it's so many brothers that I talk to, and and they're in a traditional type of setup where they live with their wife or their girlfriend, and they have a family dynamic going on. And you'll be surprised how many of our men actually have our women leading them. And I don't mean just leading the family. I mean actually leading them. I had an intense conversation one night in a parking lot. I won't get into too much detail, but I was talking to a few fellas, and I mean, this one guy, he's like, "Yo, what's wrong with my woman?" You know, projecting the ideas and me listening to her and all of that. And I really couldn't believe that what I was hearing out of this young man's mouth. I mean, at one instance, I could believe it because again, we are born, or we are brought up in single parent households led by women, and so your only reference point is a female leader. But even in that dynamic, once you hit a certain age and you take an assessment of where your life is, and you take an assessment of where you were able to carry yourself, or others, adverse to where women were able to carry you, and you should see an advantage for the argument of your leadership. If you're not seeing that advantage, then something is terribly wrong. So in a household, in a domestic situation, our men won't allow themselves to take on the role of leadership. They are afraid that they are not going to be able to traverse the trials of leadership within the family dynamic. And a lot of it is because we lack in the confidence, right? You lack in the confidence because, let's be honest, as a westernized black male, there's not many places that's going to uh, impart confidence in your spirit. It's just not. If you aren't one of those people who are going to go out here and demand of the world what you believe that you're worth, then it's not too many people that's going to pump you up with confidence. So you start to doubt yourself. You start to say, well, I doubt myself. I'm not going to say that, but it's going to come out in my actions. And one of the ways that it comes out in our actions is that we relinquish the responsibility of leadership, because leadership is a responsibility. So, really, what you're doing is you're running away from responsibility. If things fall apart in your household, then you don't want to be held accountable for that. You can always say, well, she did this or she did that, and this happened or that happened, instead of saying, you know what, I made a decision, and I fucked up. So, you avoiding that responsibility by having the frame of reference of a female leader as you're growing up. And then when you are an adult and you are pushing that responsibility of leadership still on the shoulders of the women in your life, you go out here in the professional world. Now, you may be good at whatever you're doing in life. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be working at Target or you can be a software engineer. It really doesn't matter. You may be real good at your job and a position of management will open up. And your managers or people might say, "Hey, man, you might be good for that particular job. You should try it out." And what typically happens is many of us, and I'm guilty of this too, we're like, I don't want to get involved with that management thing, and you start to give all sorts of reasons out of why you don't want to put yourself in that leadership position. Now, when it comes to professional leadership, there's more things to consider there, but some of the other things still apply, like your lack of confidence, your frame of reference of leadership. But the other thing that comes into play is you don't trust the system. You don't trust the system. You don't trust the colleagues. You do not want the responsibility of other staff members, mainly your own people. Let's keep it real, because you know how sticky it can get, and you see managers like yourself being replaced quite frequently in a lot of these industries. And number one, you're outnumbered. So it's like it's like might be you and another guy on the management level that are black males. And you don't want to contend with that type of environment. And while that environment can be really sticky, um, avoiding that leadership actually sets back our image, or at least it hinders the forward progress of our image greatly. Number one, when we put ourselves in leadership positions, we have the ability to make decisions. And when we have the ability to make decisions, then we have the ability to affect the environment in which we're working in. And one of the positive effects is that we have is that we are now in a position to be an example to other black males who are not in leadership, and we have some control over how they are able to perform in that playing field. So the more positions of power that we place ourselves in, or at least try to go for, a lot more input that we have in the environment. When we keep ourselves out of those professional leadership roles, we keep ourselves at the whim, and then being at the whim, of course, is going to be easy to complain, right? So I see this. I see this a lot. So we see this in our domestic uh, world, and we see this in our professional world. The other failure of leadership is in our community, and once again, I use that word community very lightly. In our community, we have a um, look out for self, do for self, worry about self mentality. And leadership requires you to think about other people. Leadership requires you to see what is best for the group. And many of us fail to take the group into consideration. And a lot of this, again, is going to stem from how we were brought up in the every man's for his self type of thing, because the group, whether it be the group of black people, the group of white people, the group of society, whatever group, we are considered last. There's nobody looking out for us. And so we take that mentality and we internalize it, and we become, therefore, single minded on us, just on us. We really have to swallow that and fight that taught instinct to abandon leadership. At some point in this life, no matter how much you try to avoid responsibility, your responsibilities are going to you are going to come face to face with them. You are going to have to confront them. I mean, look where we are now. We are our backs against the wall and we really don't have no room in front of us. And a lot of that is because we have been dipping and dodging our responsibilities. You've had great men throughout the 60s, 70s, 40s, 50s, the 20s, 1800s who have preached this, who have tried to educate us on this throughout that time, and it's really has failed to really connect on a level where it's meaningful for meaningful change. So that's just one of the things that uh, really is holding our image back. That avoidance of leadership, because what it really comes down to as it is an avoidance of responsibility. So other people can say, look at these guys, they don't even want to be responsible for themselves. You know what, I'll be responsible for them and I'll dictate where they go, I'll dictate what their image is, I'll dictate what they can have, and when they can have it. And so our prison systems are filled with brothers who have neglected responsibility, and now the state or the federal government is responsible for them. Our households are filled with brothers who have let the responsibility go, and now their mothers and their wives and their daughters and their grandmothers are responsible for them. We have stepped away from the leadership, and so now we have a society who has really discarded you, because leaders can't be discarded. Leaders are at the forefront. Leaders are easily identified because they have to be up there speaking for the greater good of whatever group of people that they're leading. So it's hard to discard them. Black men altogether are discarded uh, for a large uh, portion because of avoidance of leadership. We look to our entertainers as leaders, but our entertainers are really followers. When you have these names, people. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. They'll call themselves Tragedy Gaddafi, and I'm not. I'm just throwing something out there. Or I don't know, they'll play on Bin Laden's name, Osama bin Laden, and create a rap name, or it's hard to say right now, just right off the top. But we start to emulate other cultures, right? We start running around like we samurais, and we start running around like we mobsters and all of that. These are cues that we picked up from other people. So we looking at our entertainers as leaders, but these people are literally following behind other people. And I know that may be a shallow example, but it is an example that reflects our mind state. And that's really what it is. It's our mind state where we don't believe in our leadership. We don't. We're literally the salt of the earth. We set the trends. We make things cool. We do that. And the thing is, we can be original and do that. We don't have to look to other people to extract from them to be able to do that. Can you learn those things from other people? Sure. But to just be a water, like you hear somebody, I'm gonna be the black Bill Gates. Why be the black Bill Gates? Bill Gates is already Bill Gates. We don't need a black one. Okay, we just, you know, be whoever it is you're going to be. You don't have to try to be the black Bill Gates or the black. They put black in front of these things, and it's really like, damn, bro, where's your sense of originality? Because leaders throughout history they forge different pathways, and that's one of the things that are common to all leaders, that they really find new ways, or they're not afraid of exploring new ways, even if that new way isn't going to work out. So I think we really need to uh, you know we really need to tone down on who we consider to be leaders. Avoiding leadership is really puts you in a category of women and children. Really, now you're just somebody who needs to be um, accounted for. You're somebody who needs to be cared for. You become another liability. Now, can we all be leaders in all things? No, but there is a sense of leadership at every level. It doesn't matter what realm we're talking about. You can be a leader just by the way you carry yourself. Earlier in another video with this same series, we talked about dress code, right? You can be the guy in your neighborhood or the guy in your firm or whatever to break the expectation of what people think you are going to be, if that makes sense. They expect you to come looking like this, speaking like this, behaving like this, your body language like this. But if you come out and you raise that standard, then they're shocked. They're like, "Wow." It's funny the looks that you get when you are out and you may have your children with you as a black male. You may have your children with you, your wife with you, or just a entire unit, and that unit is taking cues from you. You you notice the stares and the looks from other people. It's like, wow, this man, this guy, his kids are well behaved. Oh wow, this guy. Oh wow, this guy has his wife and his children with him. Oh wow, his woman is not over talking him. His this and that. Like people really are genuinely, they're looking at you in awe and in respect because you have assumed this leadership position that they did not believe you were capable of, and they don't believe it is because the image that we have out here says that we are not capable. The image that we said we are not capable. That's why it's very important that we don't aid in that negative image, that we don't aid people to say, "No, you know what, he's not capable." When they call, hey, who can lead this? I can. Who can do I can. Who can, and that goes into being able to do it actually, which is important of building your skills. That goes back to the building skills series that we have on the book 5 Instagram. Building your skills, being capable of doing things. The less you have to go and ask somebody else to do for you, the more empowered you become. The more you can show other people how to empower themselves. And therefore, it puts you in a leadership position. If not put you in a leadership position, you know so much about said skill that it puts you as the authority of the particular topic or skill. And then by being the authority, you just thrust it into leadership without you even trying. It is really important that we all of these things communicate to each other. All of these things that we are covering in this series are going to connect to one another in some kind of way, and we need to be able to first of all individually identify those, raise the bar up for those, and then weave those together in a working pattern to move forward in a positive way. But it really comes down to, do you even care enough? Do you care? Do you care? Many of us don't care. Okay, you don't care, step to the side. Those of us who do care, let's take the steps to the steps that we can do to make it better. Are we going to correct it overnight? No. But we all have sons, and those sons are going to be men, and those men are going to need to have a platform, the platform to launch off, and that platform to launch off is mainly going to be built by us. They're going to have a reference point. They're going to have this, and that is the importance of teaching the young boys, teaching your sons and your nephews or whatever, and just going down the list. It's all about bringing that awareness and bringing our mind to a place to say, hey, you know what, this is a problem, and this is a problem with me, and what can I do with me? And if I do it with me and he does it with him and he does it with him and he does it with him, now we talk about starting to have group progress. And we not even linked up. We just individually taking it upon ourselves to say, you know what, I'm slacking over here and I'm slacking over there, and I need to correct that. And the image of the group rises up, and people start to react to us differently. Our women start to react to us differently. Society starts to react to us differently. The Most High God starts to react to us differently. We start to react differently towards ourselves. And that's a good segue for our sponsored scripture of the day, and that is Romans chapter 12, verse 9 through 13. Really have to consider, we really have to consider what our leadership position is going to be in our domestic, our community, and our professional lives. We really have to consider what have we contributed to those things, where we want that to be, and really get a handle on that if we want to reverse some of the negative effects of our image. And people will really begin to look at us as a group to say, hey, these guys, maybe they are capable. Maybe they, maybe where we had them figured is not right. And guess what? Even if they don't change their mind, it's irrelevant, because like I said before, leaders can't be discarded. They can try to ignore it. They can try to step over it, step on it, or however you want to put it, but it's really going to be impossible. So a lot of these things, just like we were talking about before, the theme of a lot of this is going to be self correction. All of that looking to the outside to correct some of the things that are going on with us is, man, that's dead, man. It's a dub for that. We really have to take some of these things into our own hands. Just going into an establishment and seeing another brother in some type of leadership role is just going to have a positive effect on uh, uh, those who look like you that's walking into that establishment, especially if it's an establishment that is predominantly dominated by another race. I know the industry that I work in is, you'll be hard pressed to find many of us there. And so, when you do see one of us there, or another brother comes and they see me there, they it I'm sure that they get a just a sense of reassurance that somebody is performing on this, on a level that is respected amongst the other people there. But or when you invite someone to your house, or you go and visit somebody else's house, and you see a brother who is making great decisions for his family. His family is in order. His kids are in order. You can see that this family is progressing. You can see that this family, if you in society, that they are contributors in a positive way, and that they are a positive image that way. That was one of the things people loved about that Obama administration, and seeing him as a leader, right? And as a leader, he kind of faltered with the leader being a leader of his family, but we're not going to get into that. But yeah, so those are the things, man. Those are the areas. Those are the areas that we really can pay more attention to. Don't avoid the leadership. If you have an opportunity to step up and lead, by all means step up and lead. It does not matter if you fall flat on your face or not. Just the desire to want to do it, the courage to want to do it, the self belief to actually do it is going to speak more volumes than any uh, decision that may have failed that you've made during your time as a leader. And guess what? Those failures are going to make you better at leadership. Those failures are going to teach you things moving forward. Nobody is perfect. Nobody. Okay. And leadership, yes, some people have that quality naturally. Some people build that quality, but the importance of enough of us being leaders of our homes, being leaders in our profession, being leaders in our community is really, really going to be paramount moving forward if we want to take some of our image back. All right. So that's all I have for you today on Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. This is your man Jay, and I catch you next time in the book club.